So if I go here, right, you can see that he's an aggressive attacker, right? So he's going to have that rotation policy like crazy. We're going to get into the space here, ball roll, heel to heel, far post strike, nice little goal right there. So hey guys, what's going on? Another video. Today we have Litmanen to review today. He's I think he's the first icon swaps that came out, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's like the first option you can choose. Now, in my opinion, I think this card is hugely sentimental. I mentioned it in the video as well, because of specific stats that he's missing, but he still looks very, very usable, especially in that cam position. So we're looking at a card that is 5'11" with high medium work rates, right-footed with 3-star skill moves with a 4-star weak foot. To be honest with you guys, I actually prefer that he has the weak foot over the skill moves because most of the times I just want to be able to left stick dribble anyway, so not really a big deal in regards to that. If we take a look at his stats, he already does have 95 finishing, right, with 88 shot power. Engine chemistry style gives him a +5 for acceleration and sprint speed, and then the huge thing on this card is the dribbling boost that he gets. So hopefully the dribbling, ball control, reactions, and composure compensates. How tall is he again? 5'11". Yeah, so hopefully his dribbling is good enough with 87 agility and 87 balance, because I think the reactions, ball control, and dribbling being higher will definitely compensate well for it, so his dribbling will be somewhat responsive in game. But it is good that he does have the 95 finishing with the 88 shot power already with the 4-star weak foot. Definitely makes the card more usable, right? Also with the engine chemistry style, you are boosting his passing, right? So passing at long passing 78 plus 10, 88, and then the 94 short passing, very nice. This card is not going to offer you any physical presence in game, but he does have 91 stamina, so if you want to tell him to come back in the fence and you're not playing that absolutely god-awful tactic and you're just making them stop at that line, then great. But 91 stamina is fantastic to be able to play any way that you want without that garbage tactic, right? So doesn't really head the ball in the air, but we don't really cross, not a big deal. No defensive presence whatsoever on this card, which kind of sucks because, you know, in the cam position, it's always nice to have at least like 60, you know, at the end of the day, like defending stats in any position would be a nice thing to have, obviously. I want to see what his positioning is like defensive AI-wise, because even if I tell him to come back in defense, I don't think he's really going to do anything. But yeah, the way that we're going to be lined up with Litmanen in game is going to look like this. Always, every single time, it's going to be the 4-2-3-1. So with the 4-2-3-1 tactics, Werner will play up top, Bailey off to the left side, Gnabry off to the right side, and then Litmanen will play as the central cam. In regards to instructions, we'll tell him to come back in the fence because he can actually play that specific way, which is fantastic. And that's pretty much it. What we want to see is if he's actually a really good cam with that engine chemistry style. I do feel like this card could be really fun to use. It does suck that he doesn't have the skill moves for sure, but I think he'll be pretty good to use. So yeah, the instructions for everything else is the same as we normally use. Come back to the fence for the 3 cams. The striker on Werner, balance, because Werner is a freaking monster in this game. And yeah, let's see how he plays in game. Hopefully he's a beast. So the 4-2-3-1 in central cam position, hopefully he's really good. I'm concerned about playing with him a lot because obviously people are going to be leaving the games like crazy, so hopefully we can get in a good review for you guys. Okay, cool. So with the dribbling on Litmanen's card, he does dribble really nicely, so that engine chemistry style definitely helps it out a lot for sure, which is obviously fantastic. Makes the card very usable. But you do notice the agility and balance being a little bit low-ish. But yeah, like in that position right there, it's a little bit noticeable because of his height and whatnot. But not bad. Good off the ball movement right there. Gets into the offside position. This guy's going to try to leave the game. So that's just how all the reviews are going to go today. So we're just going to go ahead and finesse from here and not score that opportunity, but he's just going to go ahead and kick that ball out because this game is formatted perfectly. Litmanen, so far, the dribbling is definitely very nice in the card so far, so that is a good start, but these player reviews are definitely going to be a pain in the ass to do for sure. Yeah, so with his dribbling, it's not like it's super responsive. Like I said, the engine chemistry style definitely helps him out a lot. But like I said earlier, the agility and balance at 87 for both is a little bit noticeable, especially because he is a decent height. So when the players are at decent heights with that agility and balance, it will affect them. In the general sense, I wanted to try a low cross there. Low crosses I don't really use that often because they're not that effective. But, well, they are from time to time, not in those general positions. Off the ball movement? Anything? Okay, not too bad. Like, he stays in that position all right. Let's see if we can get that crossbar post, though. Very, very nice cross by him there. So his passing with the engine chemistry style will be very noticeable as well. Yeah, so even on comeback and defense, guys, the way that he positions himself in the defensive area from comeback and defense is that he actually isn't defensive oriented at all. It actually looks like he's playing on balanced instructions, right? So Litmanen is no longer in this position. Transitions into his position instantly, so he's very, very attacking oriented for sure. You see how far he was, how far he was from the cam position and how fast he moved right back into position. It's really quick right there. Yeah, so you can see that his dribbling is very usable, right? It's kind of like Bruno Fernandes with the engine chemistry style, right? Like, it's very, very similar in that regard. Rotation policy with the outside players. Does he go back into position quickly? He does. Okay, so that's good. He does have a rotation policy with the other players if they're not in position, but he will go back into position really quickly, utilize that space. See, I didn't tell him like those. When I'm saying utilize the space, I'm not telling him with the L1 thing. He's not doing it instantly, which isn't ideal. I'm not like huge on his positioning so far. Let's see if his dribbling here is good. Ball roll touch, instant shield, fake shot, near post strike, get the block off there. Yeah, I don't think the card is too special. Like, obviously him being an icon moments, I would especially think that he should be a little better just because of the name, but his stats do make sense to how he performs in game. It's not anything special, I would say, but he will be a very usable card. Like, the person I always compare to is Bruno Fernandes' Inform Sporting card with the engine, because for me that's sentimental value. Like, there's a lot of things that's missing on that card, but is it really fun to use him because he's Bruno Fernandes? Absolutely, right? So you can see, right, the way he positions himself with the striker position. Don't score that opportunity. You can see the way that he positions himself against the striker is that he does have a rotation policy with him. But you can see that when a player has really good off-the-ball movement, like Timo Werner, they'll exploit that space instantly, which is what makes Timo Werner's card very, very good. Litmanen doesn't feel like he's doing that constantly. There's a lot of positions where he kind of triggers the run himself a little late, and obviously you don't want to always have to trigger the run yourself, right? Because sometimes you're occupied looking at different things. So, not necessarily the best thing from him there, but he is playing off of Werner really nicely so far. Let's see if he goes into this position here. He does. Again, this is the positioning that I talk about, right? Goes into the empty space instantly. Werner is very good at doing those types of runs. Litmanen's now occupying his spot. Transitions right back into the cam position. Nope. Now we do it, and that's the shot we look for with the 4-star weak foot. Again, that's why you prefer the 4-star weak foot over the skill moves, to make him more usable. Doesn't have the skill moves, ends up scoring that opportunity really nicely with his weak foot, and we go from there. And this guy's actually playing the full game. He's probably going to go for 2 goals, you know, which I respect, you know. I understand why people are leaving, by the way, guys. Like, I get it. It's EA's fault for being absolutely moronic with these game modes, but it is what it is, boys. Yeah, that rotation policy with a player like himself, I'm not like completely huge on that, if I'm being honest with you, because he's not a player that's best utilized on the sides, right? Like, Zidane was doing very similar things when I was using him as well, which I personally don't like. I'm not really a huge fan of the way he's moving right now. He has a massive rotation policy. He's always moving with the other players, which, again, it can make your play unpredictable, of course, but it's not necessarily an ideal situation. The way that I like my cam to be positioned in general is the way he's doing it specifically is not for me. Now, everyone's different, obviously, in regards to what they want their cams to do movement-wise, but it's just not, the way he's moving is not for me right now. I don't like the way he's going into the empty space. Like, that's a triggered run, right? But I want to see what he does if I make a regular pass here. So if I go here, right, you can see that he needs an aggressive attacker, right? So he's going to have that rotation policy like crazy. We're going to get into the space here, ball roll, heel to heel, far post strike, nice little goal right there. So expect that for your cams, right? Like, again, this is not my play style personally, the way that he's moving, because the way I like them to be positioned is around that central cam area in a different way. Like, he's very aggressive. This guy, honestly, for me, he's very similar to the Zidane that we reviewed. He feels more like a striker. I think if you end up using this card, use him as your striker, because he's moving everywhere. And I think that's nice to have in the striker position, not necessarily in the cam position, though. Some players move all over the place in the cam position, but the way that they position themselves after they utilize some empty space is just better, you know? Let's see what he does over here. Yeah, he keeps moving with the left side, the right side all the time, right? Had to make sure I was actually using my 4-2-3-1 as well, just in case, because that's how much he's moving, right? He's gonna utilize empty space here again. Yeah, I tried to do some skill moves right there, but I forgot that he doesn't have the 4-star skills. All right, guys, so final verdict on the card. For me personally, I don't really like the card. Now, I will say this, right? In the cam position, that playstyle that he has where he's just moving all over the place, left side, right side, up top, I think that's maybe because of his, I don't know, man. It feels like these players, is it like a trait or something? These players have to have like their own player ID, because just because he has 97 attacking positioning doesn't make him move specifically like that, because there's players that have great attacking positioning that don't move like that. Like Lionel Messi in the cam position moves really well, but like I said, guys, this could be completely based off of player style, right? Like for me personally, I don't want my cam to move like that, especially a cam like him. Like Bruno Fernandes never really moved off to the sides often, right? But this card, he's just left, right, consistent, forward run right away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a very aggressive attacker, right? So I guess in that regard, it's not too bad. Again, I don't think the card is bad. I just think that, in my opinion, I don't like him in the cam position because of his characteristics. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that he moves, I'm not a fan of. But the engine chemistry style definitely helps him out in dribbling, 100%. The passing boost you get him with the engine is really noticeable as well. The 95 finishing with 88 shot power, 95 composure is honestly really good as well. There's not really much else to add to it. The only thing that really threw me off about the card was honestly his off-the-ball movement. But it's not because it's bad. It's just because he doesn't move the way that I would like him to move, right? Like, even whatever instruction I would give him, right? Even on comeback and defense, he didn't actually come back on defense because of his super aggressive attacking play style, right? Like, he was out of position when I told him to come back in defense for that one time, and he just ran right back into position instantly. Like, that's how much he wants to attack. So, in my opinion, if I were to get this card, striker, right? But if you guys want to use him in the cam position, make sure you give him an engine chemistry style. I personally didn't like the off-the-ball movement, but it doesn't make it actually bad. It just depends on how you want your players to move. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this player review. I will catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.